What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. I saw the trailer earlier in the year, and I was very excited, mostly because of the talent in front of the camera. You have Sam Rockwell and Taraji P. Henson. Both of these performers are two of the best in the biz, and I was interested to see where this movie was going to go. It looked like an Oscar baity trailer, then I saw the release date and said, no, that's not coming out anywhere near Oscar season. So let's see how this pans out, but let's talk about the best of enemies. I need you guys to get down in the comments section below. Let me know, are you going to watch this movie? Did you skip it? Did you see it? Or did you see Shazam? Because that was good. So civil rights activist Ann Atwater faces off against C.P. Ellis, exalted Cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan in 1971, Durham, North Carolina, over the issue of school integration. Like I said when I use the word controversy, if you're unaware of what's going on online, or at least on Twitter, this always seems to happen on Twitter, but I see where people are coming from. They are comparing this movie to Green Book, saying it is just another white savior film. Why are we doing this in 2019? Well, I look at a film like Green Book, and then I look at this movie, and I don't necessarily see the hostile intention. First off, I like to keep politics out of my reviews, so I'm not going to hit on this. Once I'm done talking about it, you guys can let me know in the comments down below how you feel about it. And trust me, if it would have compromised the film for me or come off a little like, okay, you're pushing that a little far, or you're doing something that I don't think is right, especially for the story that you're telling, I would absolutely count that as a negative. I'm going to try my best to push that aside for my review. Listen, everyone comes from a different background. If that is something that affects you and bothers you, and you do not feel that this movie measures up because of the message that it is trying to send, I completely and utterly understand that, and you are allowed to feel that way. That is the beauty of all things movies, is we are allowed to judge it and critique it as differently or as similarly as we want. And even though it is not really affecting my review, if it affects yours, that is absolutely okay. I would love to see some nice conversations go on in the comments section and talk about this in the right way, not the wrong way. I may have opened up a can of worms, but I want to tell you guys how I feel about this film. Listen, I saw the trailer and I knew exactly what I was getting. In a way, that is a bad thing. In another way, it's going to make most casual audience members that don't care about all of the critic scores and really who is critiquing this film really hardcore, they're going to go and they're going to watch the movie, they're going to walk out and say, oh, that was a really nice movie. Those people are nice to each other. I mean, they're not wrong. This movie has a very emotionally satisfying conclusion to a film that you expect to head in that direction. That's my big issue. Even though this is clearly based on a true story, I don't know how true they kept it. I assume they kept it as true as they possibly could, especially with a story like this. You don't want to meddle too much with something this important, with something that really changed the game. Now, I do see people's critiques with the fact that they try to make Sam Rockwell's character, C.P. Ellis, who is the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, this sympathetic character that you feel sorry for. And in its own way, I see why they did it, but in another way, I'm like, I don't know if I should feel sorry for this guy, especially with what he is doing in the beginning of the film. And yes, you saw it in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. He starts to come around on certain subjects, but does that still mean you have to sympathize with him? It is a hard movie to watch because it's going to play with your emotions, as in, I shouldn't be rooting for this guy, but the film wants me to root for this guy. And because of that, I can see why people are upset with this film, but here's my standpoint on it. It is based on a true story, and if they kept this story true, it is what actually happened. So the fact that the film painted that picture, I can't strike too hard because of the nature of the true story. If it was a fictionalized film, then I would be all like, all right, I don't like what this movie is doing. Even though it is semi-heartwarming, I'm not a fan of how they're portraying these characters, but it is something that actually happened in real life, and I want to give kudos to Sam Rockwell's performance, regardless of what you think about that character. He is very good. He is kind of typecast in this, the racist guy that you feel sympathy for. With 3 Billboards, and now this movie, he is kind of playing the same character, only in this film, he's not as dumb as he was in 3 Billboards, but still, I like his performance in really everything that he does. He got nominated for Vice. He was so much better in this movie than he was in Vice. Will he get nominated for this? No. I don't necessarily know if he should, but I don't necessarily know if he should have been nominated for that. But someone who I really want to point out here is Taraji P. Henson, and here's my problem with this performance. She didn't get enough time to shine. She is not in the movie nearly as much as Rockwell's character, and that for me is a negative. I wanted to see more of her because her performance was flat out insane. It was so good, and I loved it. And she is the shining beacon of this film, and really their, I guess, chemistry or lack thereof between those two characters is what keeps this movie flowing and going. It provides the humor and then the emotion and then that ending where it goes, where the story ends up. Yes, it is very emotional, in its own way emotionally manipulative, but I guess that is okay for where this story heads. But overall, man, Taraji, she keeps this movie afloat, and really the entire cast. I didn't have an issue with one performance. There are the two buddies of C.P. Ellis's character who just kind of stand around and snarl and chuckle, don't get any fleshing out. I'm like, I didn't really know anything about any of those guys. And my big issue with the movie, and the reason why I can say it's just okay, is because the way that it flowed and the length of the film. It is way too long. And I'm not saying, oh, it's a slow burn. Austin, you don't like slow burns. You're just not smart, or you don't know enough to handle it. I got that with my review of The Highwayman. No, listen, I love a good slow burn. Dragged Across Concrete is possibly my favorite movie of the year, and that is the definition of a slow burn. But this slow burn is different from a movie like that because that movie was so well crafted. If you have really good technical elements and the pacing works, then I'm on board with a slow burn. This wasn't a slow burn. It was just a slow movie, and the pacing, it lagged in parts. There were certain scenes that felt irrelevant that could have been completely chopped out of the film. If it would have clocked in at like an hour 40, maybe 35 minutes, it would have been perfect. But unfortunately, it doesn't, and the movie suffers because of that. Listen, this is a crowd pleaser if there ever was one, and I do think the older generation who goes to see this film and pays no mind to the controversy online will walk out really enjoying it. And if you are of that demographic, I recommend this movie to you because I think you'll like it. Otherwise, I'd say maybe see it, maybe don't. It's all up to you. The Best of Enemies was, in my opinion, a missed opportunity. It could have been much better. It's not a bad movie. It's just kind of there. It kind of exists. And all of those things being said, I'm going to give The Best of Enemies a 63%, a slightly fresh score, but only slightly because I do think this movie could have been a lot better. But I want to know your thoughts. Be sure to get down in the comments section below. Let me know, did you like this movie? Did you not like it? Once again, tomorrow I am reviewing the brand new documentary series on Netflix. I believe it's called Our Planet. I'm about to start watching that right now. Very excited for it. A lot of videos already this weekend. So many came out on Friday. Earlier today, I talked about Doom Patrol. You guys are the absolute best once again. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you tomorrow morning.